What's up everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to go over some Giants teams. So we're going to start out with this basic team here and just try to help you guys out, figure out maybe some different Giants teams that you could utilize to farm on your accounts, okay? So the reason why I'm starting out with this one is this is pretty much just as basic as it gets, right? As you're progressing through Giants B1 all the way through B10, B11, and to B12. This could be your standard Giants team that's going to get you the success rate that you're looking for and also give you the ability to farm runes without needing really good rune quality to build the team. You don't have to have your shield will runes for your Melia, like continuous damage tattoo dot team, right? With the Fire Grim Reaper and the Fire Pixie. You also don't need to have like a really crazy powerful Lucian or just like anything of the sort. And then all these units are also free to play, which is another big bonus to having just this team set up. I know the Melia team is free to play, but you do have to do a lot of Second Awakening. A lot just meaning the 2A Sath, which is the Fire Grim Reaper, and the 2A Tattoo. Second Awaken the Tattoo, which is the Fire Pixie. So this team is just really useful and beneficial for anybody who's just in early game and is looking to trying to progress to finally get those B12 runes that you've been looking for, right? To get those constant 6-star runes. Yeah, so you're going to have Sigmaris is going to be your leader skill. It provides that 44% HP lead in your dungeon runs. And then you're also going to have Veramos in there. That's going to be your cleanser and also help with those, that AoE stuns with the skill too. And then the main focus of this team is you do get damage with Sigmaris, but then you also get the continuous damage effects from Megan and Veramos, which are going to help take down the boss little by little. You also get the defense break from Beladion. And then he also provides that strip as well, Beladion does. So when the boss gets the attack buff, then Beladion's going to use that that skill too for the strip. But then the defense break is really good, so then you get that extra damage in. And then lastly, you have Megan in here for the attack buff and the defense break to boost the team, and then to also remove those buffs as well. And this is also a really beneficial team because those 4 units that I just mentioned, Sigmaris, which is the Water Phoenix that you can fuse in the Fusion Hexagram, and then you have Veramos, which you could also fuse in the Fusion Hexagram, the Dark Ifrit, and then Beladion and Megan, you're going to be able to utilize those for a Dragon's team as well. So this is a really good team to begin your progression for building dungeon teams, and it doesn't require crazy rune quality or anything of that sort. And then you're also going to have Darian in here, which is nice because he's going to help protect the team, take less damage. And then he's also going to be a unit that you might start using in the beginning of your R5 runs, your raids for R5. He's a really good frontliner, mitigates the damage for your team. Very simple to build. So we'll go through the builds real quick on why this team actually works. Alright, so let's look at my monster box here. So we're going to have Sigmaris. Let's just find her real quick, right here. So her build, oh, she actually doesn't, see, the dungeon was successful without Sigmaris even being fully runed up. So I'm assuming you guys can achieve these stats, definitely not that hard, especially since I'm even missing a rune. And it does benefit you to skill up Sigmaris, but it's not required. The only struggle that I have with Sigmaris is the tankiness. Really low base HP, so any extra HP you can get on her, then the better. But you will have that HP percent lead in the dungeon. Alright, so next we're going to have Megan. You just want her to be fast and to be able to provide that strip and the heals. I'm sorry, that wasn't Megan, so here we go. Here's Megan. Again, not that fast. Not great of accuracy, but the good HP and defense. I have mine built for an arena defense against like Leo offenses, but I mean, just ignore that. That's fine. But just regular speed that you guys can manage, right? And then also having that HP and defense. And then we're going to go down here for Veramos and Beladion and Darian. Sorry, it's taking me a little longer to scroll. Here we go. So Beladion, very standard build, and good HP, good defense, and decent speed. And then you do want that 65% accuracy for once you start getting into Dragons runs. That's why the accuracy is so high, but for Giants, I believe you only need maybe 55%. It used to be 45%, but I think since B12, it got up to 55%. All right. Violent would be better on Beladion, but if you do have Swift sets, this build will still work for Beladion. You don't have to have Violent. So all these stats can be on Swift. And a little bit less HP is okay. I would still try to get this amount of defense and this amount of speed. But a little bit less HP would be okay. And again, doesn't need to be skilled up, and it doesn't really even need to be second awakened. All right. And then next we'll have Darien, very standard build. Just gonna have a lot of HP, a lot of defense. You can see that my runes are just like broken sets. I just have them on good resistance, barely any speed, and then the HP and defense is there. But this is built for R5 purposes, but it just also assists the team in Giants. And then Veramos, another standard build. You don't need the Nemesis set. This is just something that I just haven't built on. But yeah, good HP, good defense, good speed. You want your Veramos to have roughly plus 80 speed, because every time, well, I would say, I think since B12 you want to have around like plus 85 speed, because every time that tower, the right tower takes a turn, it's going to do an AoE defense break on your team. So you want Veramos to be able to cleanse that, and roughly plus 85 speed gives them the perfect amount of speed to cleanse your team before the Giants boss actually takes a turn. And again, you want him to have about that 55% accuracy, so then he can land his stuns and then also land that continuous damage effect on skill 1. Alright, so we were able to complete this team without even having that slot 6 rune on Sigmaris, right? And you can see here that it's still being effective. So we're going to end this dungeon run, and then we're going to start showing another team. Okay, so this was the first team that we started out with, right? So you had your Sigmaris, your Veramos, Baladion, and Megan. And then eventually you can actually take Darien out once you start to get better rune quality, and then your team could actually survive without needing Darien's help. So at that point, you could take out your Darien, and then I would say you have probably 2 options that you could pick. You could either use your Bernard, really good for turn cycling. You don't have to have it this fast, but just have it on good HP, good defense, and then just as much speed as you can manage. That's pretty much what you're going to do. But you're going to have speed for your slot 2, HP percent for your slot 4, and then HP percent for your slot 6. You could also do a defense percent instead of HP, just whatever runes that you have, but you do want him to be around like plus 100 or higher speed, so then he could help just rotate those turns. He lands the defense break and the attack break on the boss, so just overall really good use for the Giants runs. And then kind of helps with a little bit of extra damage and yeah, turn cycling your team, so then you can kill the boss faster. And then once you get better rune quality than that, then you can start putting in your second damage dealer, which could be either Crow, which is the Dark Inagami. You could put him in there, so then you'll have Sigmaris and Crow both being damage dealers. You could put in Hralsvelg, which is the Wind Barbaric King. You could put in so here's the Wind Barbaric King, you could put him in there, or you could put in like the Wind Martial Cat. You could put Naomi, the Wind Martial Cat, in there. She deals really good damage with her skill 2, leaving a branding effect. She deals extra damage with her skill 3. Let me move the mouse cursor out of the way there. Yeah, crit rate when the enemy has harmful effects, which is going to have harmful effects because you're going to have Sigmaris, Megan, and Veramos in there, all which having the opportunity to put that harmful effect on the boss, right? And yeah, so just another good option for your damage dealers. So that's what I would recommend for like a slow progression into faster dungeon teams for GB12. Starting out with that basic team that you're probably going to have at Giants B9, B10, trying to farm those 5-6 star runes, and then going to B11, which is a little bit more challenging, still utilizing this team, and then going into B12 with some decent rune quality, still the same team, but now you can start progressing using like a second damage dealer, right? So now we're going to go into a different team. Okay, so as you can see here, we have our another team set up. So this is another pretty much like free-to-play team that I'd like to say. These are all 3-star and below, besides the Sigmaris, which is the Sigmaris you can fuse, again, in the fusion hex diagram. But you do get Fran when you're doing your Summoner's Way. And then we'll start up the dungeon run so we get to see it in action, right? And we will also get some more energy while we're at it. Yeah. So the reason why this one works, you're going to have some big hitters. And then you're going to also utilize this team when you have better rune quality, because if you're not dealing enough damage to the bosses and then also during the waves, then this team is just going to die. It's just focused around damage and single target damage at that. So you're going to have Fran up there for the attack buff, the immunity. You're going to have Lauren in there for the defense break, the attack speed slow, and for the attack bar pushback. And then Crow is in there for the big, just a big hit, the single target damage nuke. But also providing that defense break and then putting the branding effect as well. And then another one that puts a branding effect is the Wind Martial Cat, which we referenced in the first team for one of the replacements in the first team. And then Sigmaris again is going to be in there for the big damage as well, dealing the damage based on the enemy's HP percentage. And then she also helps during the waves because she does do the freeze and then the AoE attack break and stuff like that. So just another team that you could put together that's again free to play, but a little bit harder to build because you are going to need better rune quality in order to build this team successfully. But yeah, so 1 minute runs for this one compared to the little over 2 minute runs that it took the last team to complete, right? So now we'll go over the rune quality for this team and what we have runed. So we'll start out with, so Sigmaris again, still unruned on that slot 6. So again, that could actually increase the speed of the dungeon run, right? If we actually had one being fully skilled up, because we are missing 3 skill ups in the skill 1, and then also having that slot 6 rune, the attack percent. So since I'm able to complete these dungeon runs, even not having fully runed up monsters, then I would say that you guys could probably do the same, right? And then we also have the Wind Martial Cat. So let's look at this one. It is second awaken, and then again, missing a rune on here. So I'm able to complete these dungeons with almost unruned monsters. So the team synergy is just really good. And then I guess Fran and Lauren do kind of carry that team because they do a lot of attack bar pushback and attack bar manipulation in order to keep your other team safe, the rest of your members safe. And then we have, who is it? Fran, Lauren, and then Crow. So we'll show those. So Fran and Lauren are runed decently well. This is Violent Will, and then also just really tanky and decently fast. But again, you could probably get these stats on a decent Swift set. And like I said before, you are going to need a little bit better runes in order to pull off a damage dealing comp, team comp for Giants instead of your dot team comp. And then for Lauren, so here we have Swift Will. Again, you don't need these crazy of runes. You can have lesser stats on these. But yeah, the Swift set is just really nice and something that you should be farming while you're progressing through Giants. You don't need the will sets, and you're going to take first turn anyway in Giants, so the will doesn't matter. This is just for PvP. But again, yeah, have that accuracy. The accuracy is pretty important, especially when it comes to Lauren, because you want to land that defense break and you want that attack bar pushback. All right, and then Crow, which I believe we also showed in the beginning, but we'll show again. So here's Crow, the big damage dealer. Good crit rate, good crit damage, looking for high attack. One thing that I do struggle with when I was first building that team was HP. So if you do get revenge hit by the boss, or if you happen to get unlucky during the waves, and you get stunned or frozen and stuff like that, your team starts taking damage, your damage dealers are going to die. So that is one of the issues you might run into. So a little bit of HP does go a long way. Alright, so as you can see, we already finished 3 runs. So solid team, and that's with Sigmaris and the Wind Cat being unruned. So now we're going to head into our next team. Okay, now we're in here with our next team. This is the one that most people are probably going to be familiar with, right? The dot team, the continuous damage effect team that everybody's familiar with. The one that they actually are, I believe, are starting to promote now in their Summoner's Way. Instead of the fusion progression being through Veramos, I think the fusion progression is now for Melia. So Melia is just really good to provide that continuous damage effect. Sath is in there to make all continuous damage effects last, or to take double damage, take 10% damage instead of 5%. And then Tattoo is in there to blow up all the continuous damage effects all at once, so then the boss just dies instantly. And then I like it to actually throw the Water Homunculus in there, because the Water Homunculus, you're going to have it built most likely for your TOA builds, to do the Trial of Ascension for TOA and TOA Hard. And the Water Homunculus is going to provide a lot more continuous damage effects and a lot more safety for the team, because in the beginning of these dungeon runs, or when you're first building this team, your team is probably going to struggle a little bit for survivability. You do have 2 fire monsters in here, they are going to get targeted, and then your Melias might not be that tanky, and then if you're trying to use Lucian to kill the waves, he's not going to deal enough damage, he's probably going to be pretty weak, because you have to put him on attack, crit damage, and crit rate, so he's not going to have a lot of HP, so you're probably going to run into a bit of issues when it comes to damage in some failed runs. The Water Homunculus just makes this a lot easier to deal with the waves, and for that attack bar manipulation with the skill 2, and then also with the skill 3, providing those continuous damage effects, right? Yeah, so as you see, this dungeon run is just going fine, it's going smooth, and we're getting the continuous damage effects up there. And then, yeah, Tattoo is just blowing up all the continuous damage once her skill comes up. So, really simple, successful team. And then we'll go over the builds right now too. So, for your Sath and your Tattoo, you're going to want to put them on double will. So you will need will runes for this team comp. The reason why you're going to do double will is because you're going to take one turn, and you're going to actually take 2 turns while you're doing the waves, or pretty much between every single wave in the Giants runs. So between each turn, the enemy will take a turn, and you will get stunned. Most likely will get stunned by the enemy if you don't have will runes. So that's why you have to have the 2 will runes. And then you're still going to take a lot of damage, so which is why shield runes are highly, recommended. Yeah, shield runes are highly recommended. It just makes the run safer and easier. And shield runes do last for 3 turns. So you'll take those 2 turns, and then the shield will still be up while the enemy's taking a turn. So you will have that survivability. Sath does not need to be skilled up, but he does need to be second awakened in order for his passive to work, which is the continuous damage effects are double the amount. They do 10% instead of only 5%. Alright, now you have, oh, that's Acelia. Yeah, now you have Tattoo. Mine's on fight runes because I was trying to make Lucian just hit as hard as possible to clear the waves, but you don't have to worry about that. If you're just building this one with the Water Homunculus or any other like AoE continuous damage effect dealer, then this will suffice. Or you could have the shield runes instead of fight runes. But yeah, again, tankiness, you do have to be above plus 36 speed. And if your speed tower is not maxed, if your arena speed tower is not at plus 20 or level 20, then you're probably going to need close to like plus 41 speed, probably even a little bit higher than that. All right. But again, having those double will. So you're going to have the HP. So I have it HP, defense, HP. You could have it HP, 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 you know, whatever you want for your slot 2, 4, 6. And then the 2 Melias, one I had 6-star, the other one I only have 5-star. So the 6-star one, I do have on the double will shield, and I just try to make it fast. Really good accuracy as well. If you have an accuracy slot 6, definitely put that on there because you do want to land those continuous damage effects as much as possible. But you don't have to ruin these as tanky as your other units because they do have the elemental advantage. The only issue you'll run into is when the crystals take a turn. The crystals don't have elemental preference, so they just hit everything really hard. And the crystals are going to be the 2 enemies that are besides the golems during the waves. Alright, and then the other Melia is down here. Then this Melia is on Violent Will, the fastest one. If she takes multiple turns, cool, she'll put more dots on them. If she doesn't, then she's on Violent for when she can take an additional turn. She does. And then the Water Homunculus, who actually I don't have fully runed. Let's see where he's at. Yeah, so the Water Homunculus I think is missing slot 3, but yeah, still really fast, tanky, and then the accuracy's up there. You do have to go through the Homunculus skill set though, and we'll actually showcase that as well. So when you go to build your Homunculus, go to the crafting building, you're going to go to Homunculus, and this is going to show your skill evolution. Okay, never mind, we can't look at it because we're participating in the dungeon, so we'll just stop the dungeon run real quick. Perfect timing, actually. Now let's just make sure that actually exits. There we go. So here we go. And this is the Water Homunculus build that you're going to want to build for TOA, TOA hard, and then also for this dungeon run. The main thing is this last ability here. Attacks all enemies to inflict 2 continuous damage effects, and then also gives 1 more continuous damage effect per harmful effect that's on the enemy. So you can go from having 2 continuous damage effects to having 4, just with 1 move. So it's just really beneficial to have the Water Homunculus on the team. And then you could also do attack bar control with this Icy Magic Bullet, which is its skill 2. Attack all enemies 3 times, and then you can reduce their attack bar by 30% with each hit. So almost a full attack bar reduction. So it helps control the waves, and then also if you have your Homunculus on Despair runes, then you could possibly Despair the waves as well. And then skill 1, having the chance to freeze. You attack all enemies, have a chance to freeze them, and then also you're going to get another Despair chance with that skill 1 as well. So you have multiple Despair chances to stun the enemies, You're doing attack bar control by pushing their attack bars back, and then you're also getting those continuous damage effects up with that skill 3. So that's why this team actually just works really, really well. And then once you get a little bit better runes, a little bit better rune quality, get some good damage runes in there, you could take out the homunculus and actually trade it in for your damage dealing Lucian. So this is what mine looks like. Just Rage Blade, 100% crit rate. Again, you're going to be in Giants, so you don't technically need 100% crit rate, but again, the crystals don't have elemental preference, so they're not going to get crit on 100% of the time if Lucian doesn't have 100% crit rate. So you might not kill the crystals. They do have less health than the golems, but it is possible. But even with my Lucian built like this, he still struggles to clear the wave by himself. So you're going to need a higher damage dealing Lucian than this. And my arena towers are maxed as well, so I'm pretty much like peaked out on damage until I find better runes for my Lucian. But yeah, we'll put this in here, give him the attack lead, and let this go. But for the most part, I've been running specifically this team for, I would say, a few months now, and it rarely fails, if ever. I can't remember the last time it has failed. Because they're still utilizing those continuous damage effects to kill the boss, and then Tattoo's blowing up the continuous damage. Lucian's just in there just to make the dungeon run go faster, because his skill 3 should kill the wave. And then since the Melias are able to put all the continuous damage effects on everybody, as well as the Grim Reaper, then yeah, Lucian should be able to actually kill the waves after everybody else is done taking a turn. So as you see, this is a lot faster than those other dungeon runs. But you do need some high damage on your Lucian to kill those waves. Because if you don't have that, then yeah, you're going to get a lot of failed runs, for sure. So we'll just let this one do its thing. There we go. So this dungeon run ranges anywhere between like a 35-second run, and if everything runs perfectly, all the way up to maybe like a minute and 20 seconds if things don't run so perfectly. And now we'll go into our other dungeon team. Alright, so now we're here with our last dungeon team. So this one, I don't recommend for a lot of people to build, because there's just a lot of problems with this team. I mean, the one benefit is that it is a really fast team, and when it works really well. And your main damage dealer is going to be this Water Dulcime or the Water Poison Master, whichever one that you have. But you're going to have pretty much maximum crit rate, really good crit damage, and then really good attack. But then he also needs to be around this plus 68 speed. I haven't figured out exactly why the speed... well, I mean, I know there's like... so there's like speed ticks throughout the game, right? And then when somebody takes a turn, a tick in speed happens, and then it just continuously happens every time like somebody takes a turn. And... like, so the formula works out to where you need like almost these exact speeds in order for this team to work. So it's really strange, but the math is there. I'm not going to go through all of it because I don't completely understand it and I don't want to explain it, right? But yeah, so have your Dulcime look like this or better with this speed, right? But he's going to be in there for the attack power leader skill, and then the big part of his ability is, one, his passive. So he increases the damage by 100% if he gets to take a turn without getting attacked for one turn. And we have Konamiya on the team here, which is going to give Dulcime a turn. So he'll automatically get another turn, and this will take effect. And then you'll actually see this in the dungeon run when it takes effect. Provide that defense break with skill 2, and then the stun chance with skill 1 doesn't really matter. But yeah, so we're mainly focused just on that passive. Julie's going to be in there. You want her to be the fastest. And again, with the speed ticks and everything, I did have to get her up to about 168, 169 speed with some almost max crit rate and then good attack and crit damage in order for this team to work. That's just how I had to do it. So that's what she looks like. Sophia, Sophia's going to be the reason why this dungeon team fails. So you have high attack, crit rate, crit damage, all of that, but the accuracy, no matter how high I got her accuracy, no matter what, she misses a defense break, and she attacks 5 times with this skill, each attack having a 50% chance to decrease the target's defense for 2 turns. Why she misses this sometimes, I don't know, but she'll miss it on the boss pretty frequently, and that's when this dungeon team fails. But when it lands, it's perfect. And then we have Lucian in here. So this was the damage dealing Lucian that I was using in the last team. He's going to go after your Sophia goes, and after your Dulcime, and the rest of the team, except for Konamiya. He's just going to go after all of them in order to help clear the waves. And then you have Konamiya in here. She's going to go second to last. No, she's going to go right before Dulcime. No, right after Dulcime. But yeah, you do have to have her around like this plus 73 speed, because that puts her at 163. And then, yeah, Dulcime's at 169. So you want the Konamiya to pretty much go directly after Dulcime, because Dulcime's going to have the lowest attack bar. And then Konamiya is going to give a turn to the person with the lowest attack bar. So that's why this team works. And you don't want Konamiya to be awakened. You want her to be at, I mean, it doesn't matter what star level, but do not awaken Konamiya. If you get the skill 3, then it might be that she's going to heal instead of providing her skill 2 to Dulcime. And this is where you need to, this is where the dungeon run will fail if you do awaken your Konamiya. Alright. And then just all fight runes. And if you have more fight sets that you can put on your other units without sacrificing any of the other stats, then you're good to go. Alright, so now we'll watch it in action, and I will shut up. Well, I won't shut up, I'm still going to talk about the team. But I'll let us view this this dungeon. Because when it works, it's really cool. Yeah, so now, cool. Yeah, so we got the defense break there, which is important on the boss. So that actually wasn't supposed to happen. They weren't supposed to take a turn after I took a turn. So that's part of the actual like speed ticks. That's part of the problem. That should not have happened. But yeah, Sophia lands the defense break. Dulcime takes a turn. Konamiya gives them another turn. You just see how much damage that just dealt to the boss. But yeah, so you'll lose a lot in the mid wave. And you'll see that you lose a lot in the mid wave when the enemy golems take a turn and then they actually freeze your team. So that was actually really weird that happened. I don't know if this team used to work. Maybe I'm gonna have to do some speed tuning like all over again. But yeah, it should be Julie going, and then Lucian's supposed to also help like clear the wave. Oh, I have my wrong Lucian in here. So this is actually incorrect. Okay, never mind. I've realized what I did wrong. This was not supposed to be how it's supposed to go. So we are going to end this here. Don't make the mistakes that I do. I put the wrong Lucian. It's not supposed to be my big damage dealing Lucian, because Julie does the fluff damage to the wave, and then Lucian will help clear it. All right, so I have a second Lucian for this. All right, so let's go back to the dungeon and redo this. All right, so we're taking out this damage dealing Lucian, and we are going to put in our other Lucian. So this Lucian is supposed to go directly after Julie. And see, this is important because I was talking about those speed ticks. So that's why you saw that the enemy cut in and all that kind of stuff. All right, so this is the damage dealing Lucian that's faster that we're going to put into this team. Okay, so he's going to be selected. He's going to be faster than Sophia. So Sophia takes a third turn. So that whole first part, ignore. Ignore the first part of this team. So now we actually have our turn order, which is going to be Julie, Lucian, Sophia, Dulcime, and Konamiya. Yeah, I wonder why that wasn't registering before when I was explaining the team earlier. So here we go. This is going to work way better. Yeah, when mistakes are made, showcase them so then other people don't make those same mistakes. All right, so now you saw that the first wave died pretty much instantly, right? And then as you saw there during that mid boss, the enemy wasn't able to take a turn. They didn't cut in or do anything like that. So during the wave, Julie has smart AI, or intelligent AI, however you want to look at it. But she will always use skill 3 during the wave when she has full HP. And then Lucian, it will trigger Lucian to prioritize his skill 3 because the enemy will be close to dying. And we all know the meme that when the enemy has like 2 HP, that's when Lucian actually wants to use his skill 3. So we try to manipulate the AI to act like that. So Julie uses skill 3, Lucian uses skill 3. So now we go to the mid wave, and then Sophia's gonna land that defense break. Dulcine's gonna take a turn, and then Konamiya's gonna give him that extra turn. Now he kills the boss. Same thing. Julie uses skill 3, Lucian uses skill 3. Rinse and repeat with this boss, land the defense break, and then Dulcine takes a turn, Konamiya gives him another turn. So if you have really good damage dealing runes, then by this point, the boss might already be dead. So you could actually probably get better dungeon run times than me if you're running this team with better rune quality. Yeah. So you saw my original mistake. Don't make that mistake. Now we have this. This is much better. So the speeds do matter for this team. They really do. Because those speed ticks are really important, and you have to move before the waves so then they don't stun your team or interrupt any of the flow of the dungeon. But when, like I said before, when this team works, it really works. And it's fantastic. But when it fails, Sophia is pretty much the epicenter of failure when it fails. She doesn't land the defense break, and then the rest of the team is just hitting the boss. It's like punching a rock. You're not going to break the rock. But if you defense break it, then you're going to be good. And yeah, that's pretty much what I have for dungeon teams. If you guys have any other dungeon teams that you would like me to try out, let me know. I'll be happy to test them out and showcase them. And I know my rune quality is pretty decent on my account. So if you want me to try these on other accounts, you know, I'll be happy to. And yeah, to show that the dungeon teams like still work. Like the thought process behind them is still successful. And I think my rune quality, I mean, I kind of benefited by showing you guys that like I didn't have Sigmaris runed, and my Megan was just like on a very basic build, and I think my Wind Martial Cat was also on a very basic build, but and missing runes as well. So I was missing runes, but then like the team synergies still were good, and we were able to get successful dungeon runs through all of them. All right, so these are probably like the top 4 dungeon teams that I recommend. And hopefully I was able to show you some like filler monsters that you could put in there to either make them faster, more consistent, or and then I also try to show some like free to play ones as well. Alright, so that's going to be it for this video. Just let me know how you guys like it, if you want me to showcase other things, and I'll be happy to. And then yeah, I hope to see you guys in the next video. So until then, see ya.